got the opportunity to live in Japan and to experience Japanese culture, to be able to kind of learn another way of looking at the world. And I have a lot of experiences that I will never forget. Hello, I'm Jasper. I'm from London and I teach English on Skype at Asao Language School. I have a lot of hobbies and interests. I like writing music and writing poetry. I create music on my computer using some software called Logic. And I also go to a lot of performance poetry events in London where audience members are invited to come on stage and share things that they write. I really like general knowledge quizzes on TV, and my family and I also once a week fill out the general knowledge crossword from the Telegraph. I also love comics and board games, and recently my brother and I played a game based on the Marvel comics, so you can play as characters like Spider-Man and Captain America. I also study Japanese with Aiko and Masa once a week on Skype. Life in London is not that different from Tokyo, I don't think. I think that if you live in any city around the world, there are a lot of similarities in the way that people live. But the main difference, I think, about London is that it's very multicultural. So we get to experience a lot of different kinds of food from around the world very cheaply, and also to learn about different cultures as we grow up. For example, when I was at primary school or elementary school, I had a friend whose mother was Mexican. And so I got my first taste of things like guacamole and quesadillas when I was only 8 years old. Another main difference in London is the fact that we have a lot of green space. So there's lots of parks, and they're very, very big parks, which gives us the opportunity to kind of get away from the city and experience going for walks and things like that. And I think that this is quite an important thing for British people, to be able to go and experience nature. And so we like to go out to the countryside and go for country walks and things like that. My brother recently moved to a county called Norfolk, which is in the east of England. And so we go up to visit them quite a lot and go for walks in the countryside and in nature and on the beach and things like that. Norfolk has a lot of very, very big beaches, which is really nice. So we get some fresh air and sea air, which is really important. I lived in Japan between 2014 and 2018 in Kanagawa Prefecture. I'd always been interested in going to East Asia, and in 2014 I finished my teaching qualification, which allowed me to go and live wherever I liked. So at first I applied for a job in Thailand, but I didn't really like the recruiter. I thought that it all seemed a little bit too risky. So instead I started looking at other places in Asia, so China and Japan. I decided on Japan in the end because at that time I had the impression that Japanese people had kind of two kinds of culture. So there's the kind of the traditional side of Japan, and then the more sort of crazy modern Japan. So I came to Japan in 2014. The main thing that I learned whilst I was in Japan was about the kindness of Japanese people. I found that everybody was very welcoming and would always be quite helpful. So, for example, in my first week, I got lost in Shinjuku Station. I think it's quite easy for everybody to do that. And a man came to help me, and instead of just directing me to the correct train, he actually walked me to the train, got on the train and showed me the map of where I was supposed to go and where I was supposed to change before getting off the train and going back to his train. So I thought that was really kind of inspiring, and it's very rare for that to happen in England. And also this was shown last year in the Rugby World Cup in Japan. I think that Japan really showed the rest of the world your kindness and your ability to be welcoming. Whilst I was in Japan, I travelled around the country quite a lot. I visited Kyoto, Kanazawa, Nagano, and Hiroshima. And I think that one of my favourite experiences from that was going to Nagano to see the snow monkeys. We went in December in the snow, and it was just wonderful to see them kind of sitting in the hot springs. And it was actually my first experience of an onsen as well. Obviously not with the monkeys, we were separate from the monkeys. I think it's quite common for British people to want to travel, and especially people going abroad to live there, to experience the culture. I think that experiencing a culture firsthand teaches you quite a lot about the world and how to see it in a different way. So I'm definitely glad that I got the opportunity to live in Japan and to experience Japanese culture, to be able to kind of learn another way of looking at the world. And I have a lot of experiences that I will never forget. Hello, I'm Jasper. Oh, no, my voice was terrible. Let's try that again. There's also a police siren coming past, so I'll just wait for that. Okay, I think we're okay. I also study Japanese once a week with Aikao. I also study Japanese with Aikao. I can't get this sentence out at all. Okay, let's try the whole thing again.